Welcome back. Our second conversation this morning is all about an upcoming teachers conference. We have been joined on set by the director of the teacher training program at Pathlight, none other than Consuelo Godfrey. Good morning, Consuelo.
Morning.
And she is joined by a trainer, Miss Miriam Paz. Good morning,
Hi, good
Miriam.
morning. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So this training is an annual activity that Pathlight undertakes. Let's begin by talking about what is included in the training and perhaps what is different this year from previous years in terms of getting teachers to participate in this initiative.
Well, yes, thanks Isani and Miss
April.
Miss April for having us on this morning. Pathlight is no stranger to Open Your Eyes. It's, as you know, Pathlight is an NGO, non-profit. We've been in Belize for almost 20 years. And teacher training program is one of the 3 programs that we have at the organization.
Yeah.
We have a sponsorship program and a PATH program. The teacher training program is actually the main program that hosts the conference. So this year, it's actually the first year we're doing it face-to-face again since the pandemic. Last time we did it face-to-face was in 2019, and teachers had attended. We had almost 300 teachers attend the conference. It was happening in 3 districts. So this year is actually almost like a relaunch of the conference. Our theme for this year is transforming teaching, bridging pedagogy with innovation. And of course, that stems from all the wonderful work that the Ministry of Education has been doing in terms of STEM and competency-based education. Ms. Miriam will speak a little bit more about her work that she's been doing with some of that in schools, but she's one of our lead trainers in our sessions for the primary, because we do cater to high school, primary, and early childhood.
Yeah.
And each of them have their own themes that the conference is going to be covering. The conference will take place July 1st and 2nd in Belize City at St. Catherine's Academy, and 4th and 5th in Orange Walk Town at La Immaculata RC Primary. So just a little bit of introduction there to what we want to do. But, yes.
I know that for teachers, you have to constantly be learning so that you can teach. There is always a change in a system. There's always a change in a subject. How do you gauge outcome from these conferences after you've done everything, all the work, and the teachers go into the classroom? How do you gauge success in these outcomes?
Well, for Pathlight, it's twofold. It's delivery of training, ensuring that we give quality training and professional development to teachers. And secondly, it's monitoring the impact. And we're a small team at Pathlight. We are an NGO nonprofit, so we don't always have all the resources to visit all the schools we've trained. So what we've been planning to do this year, a little bit different than we've done in other years, is we're going to be creating a monitoring and impact schedule where we're going to be going into schools over the academic year, and we're going to be monitoring and evaluating the impact of the training that we've had. Collecting data in terms of, has it increased student achievement? Does it do anything to student retention rates? How is it with dropout rates? How is it with teacher satisfaction and motivation? So those are some of the things you can't immediately see from a training, but if you actually pay attention, you go in, you support the teachers, it does help. And Miriam here is someone that actually does that. So I will pass the floor over to her so she could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's what we do. With the Ministry of Education, we have a support group right now, and I lead the support group. We have an IRO, Itinerant Resource Officer, in each district. And each officer visits schools, provides support, because we're currently implementing the competency-based curriculum. This is the first year of full implementation.
Yeah.
So we have an IRO that visits schools. They are the ones there making sure that, okay, we go into the classroom, we observe whether teachers are doing the right methodologies, the teaching strategies that we need to align with the competency-based curriculum. With Pathlight right now, we're going to be doing collaboration, grouping techniques, which is very important, because one of our macro competencies is collaboration. And if you guys know, as adults, it's hard for us to work in groups because we haven't been taught the different strategies as how to work with each other. We see it in the tertiary level, we see it in high school, we see it in primary school. So teachers need to learn those strategies so that they can be able to have students work successfully in groups. And it's not a matter, back in the days when I've been teaching for 18 years, and whenever we would have grouping in the classroom. You just step in and you say, okay guys, we're going to form groups of 3 or groups of 4, but you have to be strategic of how you're going to group your students.
Yeah.
Will it be according to their abilities? Will it be according to interests? Personalities, because whenever our students work in groups, you see a lot of personality clashes. Or I want to do this and I want to do that. So teachers need to understand that there are specific roles that you need to assign to students for them to work successfully in groups. So that is one of our main topics, grouping techniques.
Can I interject,
Sure.
Miriam? Only to share with you what has been my past experience working as a student in a group. Now, it has nothing to do with my professional life as a team player, right? But certain things affect or impact the way you look at, working collaboratively going forward. So, I could recall as a child in primary school and as a young adult, my teenage years in high school, we were placed in groups, right? The teacher would say, okay, let's say groups of 5. We don't know what determined the composition of the group. They just chose 5 of us, put us together. Normally what happens is you have one person who's a team leader, the group leader, and then you also have one person on the other end who absolutely does nothing or does the bare minimum and ends up riding the wave. Riding the wave of the team leader and gets the same grade as everybody else who has earned their pound, so to speak. And that leaves a sort of a negative impression on anyone who has worked hard to get that or earn that grade.
As we speak right now, you have students, you have tertiary level students saying, I hate group work. I hate working with others because the first thing that happens, either I'm the one doing all the work, and then this person that did nothing gets your A with you, although they did not do anything, or you have persons that I am the one that's going to do everything. You guys are just going to follow. I am going to present. So you have those difficulties, challenges that you see. So we need to show teachers, we need to train our teachers as to these are the strategies that you guys need to implement in the classroom for grouping to be a successful outcome. And these challenges, I have a 19-year-old attending junior college that comes home and complains about group work all the time. We see it in high schools. We see parents complaining whenever we visit schools and like, Miss, but what happens when my child did their role in the group, but because this one person did not do something, everybody gets a B or a C. So we need to teach those techniques, the grading techniques, how to deal with the challenges, how to group your students strategically, and how to monitor and give specific roles as to you are going to be doing this, and you have a good outcome.
What I used to do is say, okay, you guys are in a group, but I'm grading you individually. And it used to either make or break the success of a group. But it showed them, and they would ask me, like, how would you know, because this is college, right? How would you know, miss, that because now I'm here assigning you tasks, and all of you have to be able to complete the task in order for you to give a full-fledged presentation. So if you're missing this, then I know you didn't do your part.
And the primary level that Miriam will be one of our facilitators speaks to allowing teachers to assess and be able to effectively manage those teams, manage those groups. That's one of the CBE practices. For the high school, we're looking at 21st century professionalism in the workplace and strategies and skills to build those macro competencies that Miriam spoke of. For early childhood, we're looking at the play-based beginnings, because the early childhood curriculum right now is focused on play and structuring play in the early years. The conference is ideal for teachers because it's the first week of their holiday. We know that. We've had very good turnout in the past for our conference, both online and face-to-face. But in addition to that, what I really like about what this year is that we have professionals locally, and we also have professionals working with us from the US that will be a part of what we're going to be doing in terms of the delivery and in terms of what we want to see with teachers. The cost is really reasonable. Teachers will pay $30, $15 a day, which we think for professional development that is really reasonable. And they can pay online. They can pay at any one of our centers in Belize City, in Belmopan, in Orange Walk Town. That's where Miriam's from. They could pay cash, or they could do an online payment. And of course, we have an early bird special out right now until the 14th of June, which is 30, but if you decide to wait until last minute, then you'll have to pay $40 on the day of the conference. We are planning to give a lot of prizes away at the conference, nice kits and supplies to teachers, and they always look forward to those things.
When you talk about teachers and the education system, there's always this talk about continuous professional development, right? CPD and earning CPD hours and what have you. Does this fall within that? So they attend for 2 days or however many days the program is set for. Do they get credit for that?
Yes, they will be getting, we have a really good relationship with the Ministry of Education. Pathlight is a social partner with them, and so when we send in our paperwork to get it accredited, we've never been denied that. So it will be CPD accredited. One of the things I'll have Miriam speak a little bit. She's been a teacher that has attended our conference, and she's now one of our facilitators. So that's like almost like a 360 of how the training has impacted our teachers in Belize. But the thing with this conference, and it goes back to your question, Isani, that you mentioned about what makes it different this year. What makes it different this year is that, one, it's face-to-face. So a lot of teachers are happy about that. It's going to be 2 really central locations, Orange Walk and Belize City. But the training itself, the way that we're designing it this year, it's a lot more interaction and teachers testing their own knowledge and their own practices that they bring to the conference and leverage that against a successful outcome at the end of the day. And so those are things we're going to be implementing in this year's conference.
How do these trainings help, or I guess facilitate the behavioral social changes of teachers and children? So we just had COVID, we had to do a completely 180 on how we do training, how we do teaching, all of that. Now we're back in the classroom. So how have these 2 different dynamics changed over the past few years with your training?
You know, as an educator, before the pandemic, I've always attended Pathlight trainings. I've been teaching for 18 years, and they have like 20 plus years in Belize. So I started from I became a teacher. And I like the interactive activities that they have in face-to-face sessions and online, because they did provide online training as well during the pandemic, right? And I think when you leave from a Pathlight training session, you leave with resources to begin with, which is the best part for me as an educator. You leave with the resources, but you leave with that energy, because you learn so many new strategies that you are so happy to go back and implement it in the classroom. So you leave not only with your gifts or tokens, but you leave with knowledge, and we leave with that energy. Like, these are the things that I will be trying with my students this coming school year, because it's during the summer, then you start September. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that whenever we have the sessions with Pathlight, you have it's not only the CPD hours, and I know that a lot of teachers would say, I'm going to go because I want my CPD hours, but for me it's more of a professional development, because you get to build on your knowledge. And that is what we want to look at, because knowledge is continuous. Like you rightfully mentioned it earlier, things change. And some educators would like to say, you know what, change for me means more work. And I don't want to do more work. And then they connect all the other negative things as to why they believe that they shouldn't be attending these sessions during their holiday. But if you think about your growth, your personal growth, knowledge, your skills that you are able to develop. Right now we're talking about competencies, being a competent educator. We want to develop, we want to see competent students in our classroom. Our competency means you have your knowledge, your skills, and your attitudes. They combine everything together, and you're able to apply it in the real world. That is the same thing that we want to see with teachers. We want to have competent teachers in the classroom, that you are ready and prepared to deliver this competency-based curriculum in your classroom. So it's about building on your knowledge. The CPD hours are very important, because you need it to update your license, your teaching license, right? But if you think about your growth, your personal growth, I think that is the way how you can mentally prepare yourself and be like, you know what, it's something that I'm going to gain for myself.
What I look at is the evolution of teaching and the delivery of lessons that have gone from a traditional point of view to where we are, where we're implementing modern technology and techniques and what have you. I could remember back in the days when you had a blackboard and you have your notebook, and you take notes, right? You go up on the blackboard and you do your math or whatever, your writing or whatever. So it's a very traditional form. Now we're implementing all forms of modern technology and methods and what have you. How do you now prepare teachers to make that shift? Because it has to be a mindset first that you're implementing digital technology and so forth.
So the team,
I love
sorry,
that you mentioned the mindset area, because when we think about challenges, when I have to give my recommendations based on the observations and the data that we collect when we visit schools, you would believe that I would say one of our biggest challenges are resources, training. That is a challenge, because we do need more training, we do need more resources, but the biggest challenge is your mindset. Because as I said, teachers are saying, you want more from me, but what am I getting in return? But we need to understand that back in the days, traditional teaching, we did not have all the things that we have to compete against, technology, devices. We have a whole different group of students
I would want
now.
to say too that it bridges perfectly with our theme this year of our
Right.
conference, which is it's transforming teaching. Now, how would we do that? So bridging the pedagogy, which is a lot of what teachers have been used to in their teacher training program at Belize, Belize Teachers College, having a basic associate's degree in terms of primary ed or in terms of secondary education. There's some basic things that they learn. But in order to bridge that with innovation, when we say modern education, we're not only talking about technology infusion, we're also talking about the use of technology. And when we say use of technology, we're also talking about innovatively transforming the traditional methods with new ways of teaching. For example, collaborative group work. As opposed to the teacher being the one doing all the talking, doing all the instruction, you have more students acquiring their own skills, forging that path for learning, but also making some decisions about how they learn and what they want to learn. Because you all know it, every single kid, most children, is born with like a little digital chip now in their brain. And so being what we call them phygital, right? They're physical and digital, so phygital. And so they have to have a digital equivalent to everything they're learning. And if the teacher isn't able to bridge that for them, then learning becomes demotivated, they become disinterested, right?
But how do you balance that? And I ask that because it's not even just in education, the sole dependency on a device is increasing. And
time management is important.
Right, but I like everything you're saying, and I'm going to ask a question about critical thinking in just a bit, but I wanted to ask that because one of the biggest adversaries I think is happening right now is AI, and that use of like ChatGPT and all of these different forms where it can literally write your assignment for you, and teachers have to now combat, how do I know if it's from my student, and how do I, and they have to form these different ways of
I love
knowing.
that you asked that, because if you attend sessions like these that we're going to be having in July, there are ways how you can find out if your student is using ChatGPT, because just like how you have AI platforms created to assist, I don't see ChatGPT as a challenge. I love ChatGPT to help my students because they can guide themselves. And you have other AI platforms that help you to see if you're, you detect ChatGPT generated. I don't know if I can mention this right now, but we have Optimist Club 501 Belize has an essay competition, right? And each year students are asked to write on a theme. No, I am the chair. It's an example. I am the chair of the essay competition. I am an educator, so I have access to these AI platforms because I love to read and I love to research. So I know the students that submitted that ChatGPT generated essay.
But it's something
we know
it's to your question, April, which is right.
And it goes back to training. We need to train our teachers.
The platform is any platform, just like with the onset of the internet in the early 1990s, with the onset of use of tablets and cell phones in the classroom. Teachers have to know how to strike a balance. That is not something that they're born with. You actually have to show them techniques and strategies to be able to determine when technology is good and when it's not useful. And I know we're almost at the end of our time, so I just want to throw in. I just want to throw in the logistics of our conference, which is July 1st to the 4th to the 5th. SCA on the 1st and 2nd of July. We're going to be at La Immaculada RC School on the 4th and the 5th of July. This year we have 3 levels that we're going to be supporting. Miss Miriam will be supporting our primary level. I'll be working with the early childhood level, and we have Miss Lisa Carballo, Miss Nidra Mahmood, who are teacher trainers working with the other levels. I really would like to say a big thank you to Pathlight for allowing us to do this conference, our CEO, Miss Luani Caetano, for supporting us, Pathlight International, and of course the Ministry of Education and all the schools that will be participating, but especially thank you to our facilitators like Miss Paz, who has agreed to work with us this year. I mean, it's a little bit more on her plate. She's doing a lot. But with all our trainers that we're working with this year, I really want to say a big thank you. And to every teacher that's going to be out there supporting us, thank you so much. Remember, the early bird special ends June 14th. So you want to capture that as soon as possible. But yes.
Final question. How do they register and how do they pay?
Okay, so online, we have our networks. Our information is on our Facebook page, Pathlight T2T. And we also have our WhatsApp networks as well, Instagram. And so our information is posted around our social media. But you could actually just go to the office in Belize City on Coney Drive, Cards Plaza in Belmopan, and Trinidad Street in Orange Walk Town to make a cash payment if you'd like. Or it's just an online transfer for us. If you want more information, I am at 610-6244. And most teachers know Pathlight. They know how to reach us. So if anyone's interested, please reach out to us and we will provide all the information with the registration and so forth. So,
Wonderful.
yes, it will be on the TLI. All trainings are on the Teacher Learning Institute.
So
Wonderful.
All teachers are signed up to that, the teaching
Yes.
learning platform.
Wonderful, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I have so much questions, but I'll ask it during the break. But we are going to take a break now, and when we come back, we're having the conversation about border personality disorder with Dr. Martinez. So you don't want to miss that conversation. We'll be right back.